Hey everyone, this is Mrs. Russo, and I am here to show you some things about using Pearson online. You already know a few things, but we've never really made you use the online platform um, in its entirety. You have mostly used the textbook. So I just want to make sure that you guys have some of the skills you need to make sure that you can do your work online. So when you go into Pearson, of course, this pops up here. And we're going to go ahead and go into the textbook. Now, mine looks a little different than yours, so I'm going to go into your textbook right there. It's going to open up. And this looks more like what you guys see. All right, so this is the first unit. Now, we are not in the first unit, so what we're going to go to is over here to the menu. We're going to go to Table of Contents, and I'm actually going to go back into Unit 3 where we left off. So I'm going to click Unit 3, What Matters, and then this pops up. This is not the unit we will be using during virtual learning, but I figured I would go to something familiar. And here we can go to the unit introduction. It'll have an essential question. It'll have introduction activities, such as a video. And then down here, it'll have questions. Now you will only do the questions that Miss James and I assign to you. Please do not think that you will have to do every single thing that is on this page. But there's all sorts of stuff here. For example, complete chart. You can actually, like if we wanted you to do this, we would assign this to say, okay, please do the academic vocabulary for argument chart, and this would all be in your assignment. But you can click right on here and type in what you think the word retort means. I think this means to talk back. Because I read here the root, I read my mentor sentences, and I use mentor sentences to figure out how to predict the meaning. So everything can be done right here on the online platform. And I can go back to Table of Contents, go to, there's activities, and then it says, okay, so freedom of the press. That was the launch text. It'll take you to the launch text. Now my screen is significantly larger than yours, so some things you can do to give yourself a little more space, for example, is to hide this. Just gives you more text, but you don't have to. I actually want to go into whole class learning, and I'm going to find, actually no, I'm going to go to small group. I'm going to find from Follow the Rabbit Proof Fence, because that is where we left off when we were in school still. Okay, so here I am in Rabbit Proof Fence, and the first thing I would do is click on the background. And I would read that because the background always gives you some information that you just don't know. And then information about the author, which is really important for this particular text because she, the very similar thing happened to her. This is based loosely on what happened to her. And then your standards, which that's a lot of standards. I'm going to click off of those and just go back to my text. Now right here, you can have this text read to you. I click it.
From Follow the Rabbit Proof Fence.
So it'll start reading to you. The other cool thing is you can annotate. Okay, so for example, bossing and bullying was everywhere. I'm going to click off that a second. Bossing and bullying them was everywhere around them, and there were cries and squeals of, "Don't, you're hurting my head," as the tangled knots were combed out of tiny, fragile combs. So like I noticed that it sounds like an uncomfortable place. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. And I'm going to type in annotation. This sounds like an uncomfortable, excuse my spelling, place to be. Just sort of noticing things that I am noticing. So you can also circle it if you wanted to. You could underline it. And these are the features I think most of you are familiar with. Now when I go in to look at your text, or Miss James goes in to look at your text, we can see what you have highlighted, and we can see what you have annotated. Okay, so here we have over here in the student edition panel, there are different activities. Miss James and I will tell you which of these activities to do. You see, there's so many right here. And as you open up, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so many activities. But make sure you're paying attention to the assignments because we will tell you which ones we want to do. Anywhere it says open activity like this one, you can open it up and you can actually add your notes, what you notice about what you read, key passages, connect, things like that. Everything that says open activity, you can open it right up and do it there. So like for a comprehension check, for example, let's say Miss James and I tell you to do questions 1 and 4, okay? Well, you would just click on the notebook for number one, and you would type your response here. And you would click on the notebook for number 4, and you would type your response here. You would close it out. And those would be the ones we would want you to do, and those are the only ones you would have to answer. So it'll tell you, we will tell you which ones we want you to do. All right, what else? Okay, so here's some other activities, concept vocabulary. So anything we want you to do, it'll pop up here in the notebook. All right, what's next? All right, I think that's mainly all you need to know right now. Sometimes we're going to assign you some things that are like worksheets. If we assign you some worksheets, let me show you what I mean here. I'm going to go over to, I'm going to click out of student, I think. Go to, no, that's table of contents. I'm babbling now. Let's go to realize. Oh, here we go. Sorry. We're going to go back here. Okay, so sometimes we might assign you something that looks like this. Okay, so go back to rabbit proof fence, and we might assign you these first read questions. I know these are worksheets, and there's a way to download them, type in them, and return them to us. We're probably not going to do that. More than likely, we'll say, you know, let's take a look at the first read extension questions and answer number 1 and 2, and we will give you a space on Schoology to do that. So don't worry about printing out worksheets, but please pay attention to the ones we assign to you so that you know which ones to answer and pay attention to where we want you to put them. If you have any questions about how to use your Pearson textbook online, please do not hesitate to contact Miss James and I on Remind, on Schoology, any way that you are able to contact, email, anything way that you would like to contact us, and we will help you through it. You are not alone. All right, guys, have a great day.